Okay, so I'm gonna do this example for you. I'm doing pen so you can see it clearly, and I'm gonna first show you how to count how many features, how many dimensions you need for each sketch. So let's talk about the overall body of this. Let's ignore for once the whole here. For this overall body, we're gonna count the direction by direction. So let's first talk about the width here. So for you to count how many dimensions you need, you start from a corner. I'm counting this as my 0, and you go with your ruler. And you're going to slide in the direction you're counting. Each feature that you do, that you count, each corner that you bump is one dimension that you need. If we're going to add already, we're going to talk about the whole later because the whole is a whole new thing, okay? So if I drag like this, there you go, I bump 1, I'm ignoring the row, and then I have 2. So I'm gonna need 2 dimensions. I'm gonna put it here on the side. So 2 dimensions on the width. Now let's talk about the height of the solid. Again, ignoring the whole. When we go about the height, we do the same thing. It's like we're dragging the ruler. Each dimension that it bumps on it, it's gonna be 1. It's gonna be a dimension. So 1, 2. So I need 2 dimensions on the height. And now let's talk about the depth. When you're gonna drag the depth is here. So this side here is this side here. That's why we're counting here. So if I put my ruler here and I drag it, I just bump 1 in the end here. There's nothing else here in the depth dimension. So that's why I just need 1. Now the hole is a whole new thing. When it's a circular hole, the center of the hole needs 2 dimensions. So it's 2 dimensions for the center. It's 1 dimension on the width to know what is the width here, and 1 dimension on the height. And then, since it's a full hole, you need to put 1 for the diameter. Okay. So how are we going to do this? You need to imagine that there is an invisible box around those 3 views. All dimensions, most of them should be inside. There's a few exceptions that you can put dimensions here, 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 and here. But in this case, all dimensions should be between the views, or here, or here. Again, I'm doing pen for you to see better, but you should do in pencil. Each 2 squares is 1 inch. So let's start by the width that I need 2 with. In this case, let's start by the largest dimension. So you put your ruler, the dimension line, the dimension line doesn't go all the way to the object. You need to give a little space, and then you trace your line. You see here this little space. I cannot do the weights of the lines much with pen, but this dimension line shouldn't be as heavy as the object line. It should be a little bit lighter. Once I did this, I come here on the top and I can do it, an arrow here. 2 arrows, 1 on each side, to show which dimension put in. So what do I have here? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 3 inches. You write the dimension in the middle, nice and neat. My next width, I'm gonna use the width of the hole, is this one here. So to dimension the hole, you need to first of all put a center, mark the center of the hole. So you need to mark it with a plus sign here in the middle. So I'm gonna dimension to the center here, so I get almost to the center, and I bring it up here. I'm gonna use this line that I already have it, and I'm gonna do my arrows here. So I have it here 1, 2, 3, 4, so I know that the distance here is 2 inches. And now I'm gonna do this feature here. You see why I did the large one first, because then I could use this line for all the others. And I can mark here 2 squares, 1 inch, so 1 inch. Oops, I forgot the I. There you go. Now let's do the height here. So my largest height is this one. So I come here and I pull these lines here. Again, it doesn't touch the object. It's almost all the way to the object. And now I'm gonna draw here my arrows, my line with my arrows. And it's 1, 2, 3, so it's 1.5 inches. I turn the paper and I put 1.5 inches. Now my next height is the height here, this leg of the object. So I come here. So this is 1.5 squares. I am using all decimals. You can use fraction, but if you do fraction, you need to do all in fraction. I'm going to do everything in decimals. 1 square is 1/2 inch, so this is 1/4 inch, so this gives me 3/4 inch, 0.75 inches. And this one here, let me put this line here. This one is the only one that crossed the object because you need to say that is the middle here. This is not 1/2 inch, it's a little bit more than 1/2 inch, so I will estimate that this is 0.3 inches. 0.3 inches. So I did all my widths, all my heights. I also did the width of the hole and the height of the hole. I'm missing here the depth. The depth you can do here in this view or in this view. So I could put here the depth because this corresponding to this part of the object and this correspond to this side of the object. So any of here or here, it's good for the depth. I'm gonna use it here. And this is 2 squares, so it is 1 inch. Now last but not least, the diameter of the hole. So this is more or less 1 square, so it's 1/2 inch. So to do the diameter of the hole, you need to pull a lead line here, put an arrow here to say that it's diameter. You put the symbol of diameter, there is a hole, a circle with a cross, and you write 0.5 inches. There you go. This sketch is complete with all dimensions.